I can hardly believe that Thanksgiving is almost here. So every year I always make an apple crisp. I always usually do it in the oven, but I wanted to see what it was like in making it in the crock pot. I'll let you know at the end of this video what I end up deciding what I'm going to be doing for Thanksgiving, whether if I'm going to be doing it in the oven or if I'm going to go ahead and do it in the crock pot. So we want to start off with 7 to 10 apples, peeled, sliced, and cored. I always like to peel mine with a potato peeler. I just find that it's a lot easier, quicker, and faster for me. Also, you can use whatever apples of your liking. I always have organic Galas on hand, so that's usually what I always use to make my recipe. After peeling and coring them, you can go ahead and slice them nice and thin and evenly. I am going to, however, make them here in my chopper. I don't know exactly what this is called, but it is a fruit and vegetable chopper, and I really like it a lot. I have been enjoying using it, and honestly, it just makes everything so easy. I have toddlers, and I just find that the little small bite size is just absolutely perfect for everyone. This chopper has really cut down my prepping time and has made life just a lot easier. It's something that I really enjoy using and that I highly recommend. If you are interested in it, I will link it down below in the description if you want to take a look at it. After chopping them in small pieces, you do want to make sure that they're as even as possible. This way they all cook as even as possible. Then you'll want to go ahead and put some sweetener of your choice. You can put some brown sugar. Most recipes, people put brown sugar. I am going to go ahead and put maple syrup, and that's what I'm going to do. Then I put some lemon juice. I also really like to put orange juice from fresh orange as well, but I don't have any oranges, so I'm just going to put some lemon, and that's what I'm using. I'm also using the zest of the lemon as well, and that is really great. I also like to put zest of the orange, but like I said, since I don't have any orange on hand, I'm not going to be using that, but I do definitely highly recommend that. Then I'm going to go ahead and put in some cornstarch, and I know I'm just listing off the ingredients here, but down in the description below I will be putting all of the measurements as well. I just kind of eyeball it, but I will put some more exact measurements for you. And then I put in some nutmeg, some cinnamon. I also like to put in a little bit of ginger and clove. I don't have any clove on me, and I didn't end up putting ginger in this time, but that's just for preference. You can make it however you like. And I decided to go ahead and make it the exact recipe how I would normally in the oven, and so that's how I'm doing it. So I toss everything in the crock pot, and I find that it was just a lot easier to go ahead and mix it in there. This way I don't have to worry about all the apples spilling out when I'm trying to mix it. It was just a lot easier to do it that way. I had already pre-measured all my dry ingredients earlier in the morning to make things just a lot easier for me. And so I just go ahead and toss them all in the same bowl that I did the apples in and mix them up. Then I have taken my butter. This is the butter that I have made. But of course, I mean, you can use any butter, the butter that you buy from the store or butter that you make. Mine is very lightly salted, but you can use non-salted or salted butter, whichever of your choice. It all turns out very well. I have done it with either or. I have found that it is easier to slice the butter down in tablespoons, and then from each tablespoon I do it in fourths. This way it is a lot easier to incorporate into the dry ingredients. And I don't have a butter cutter. I really wish that I did have one. Since I do enjoy baking a lot, it would just make things a lot easier. But if you don't have a butter cutter, that's fine. I mean, just go ahead and do it with your fingers. And also you can do it with a fork, which I end up doing as well. So I like to use cold butter. You want to use butter as cold as possible. And actually, you really don't have to. I want to take that back, but most recipes will tell you to use cold butter. My butter, it lives in the freezer, so that's where I keep it, and so that's what I use anyways. But if you're like in a really big hurry and you just want to use softened butter, so it's a lot easier to incorporate, just to mix it around with your fingers, you can do that as well. And trust me, it turns out absolutely fine. I've made this recipe several times and it's very forgiving, and just you can do it however you choose. So then I put the topping into the crock pot nicely evenly over the apples, and then from there I put on my butter and I put the little pieces just spread out as evenly as possible, so this way the butter can nicely melt into the recipe and just be nice and melted and delicious, and that's just how you'll want to put it. Being that I have never made this recipe before, I wasn't sure how long to put it in the crock pot for, but I just turned it on low, and you will see here I checked it at the 2-hour mark, and with the 2-hour mark it was pretty much done. It depends on your liking. The apples were still had a little bit of a bite to them, a little bit of like a, I don't want to say a crunch, but they were still a little bit of a crisp to them. So I put them in for another 2 hours and they turned out very nice and soft and yummy. It was really delicious. I really enjoyed it. I also made some homemade whipped cream. Homemade whipped cream is just absolutely delicious, and everything turned out so good. In the crock pot, it makes everything very nice and very soft. And I have to say, even though I really enjoy the crock pot recipe of it, I think I'm going to go ahead and be making it in the oven. There's just something about in the oven. It's not as soft, and I don't want to say mushy because it's not mushy. It just has more of a, I just like the darkened baked quality to the crisp part of it. And it's just a matter of preference. They both turn out really good. They're very delicious, and it's just a matter of your own personal liking. I do plan on making an updated video of the apple crisp in the oven. I do have one already on my channel. I made it a couple years ago, and I will link it down below in the description. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Try it. It is so delicious. You guys will really enjoy it, I promise. Thank you guys so much, and God bless.